Hi guys. Today I just thought I'd have a little bit of fun with some alcohol ink and a Bargello technique, kind of. So all I've done is I've rolled out some clay here. It's just Fimo Pro on a number 2, and it's just white, and it's just scaggy white. You know, it's got little bits of glitter, this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter because I'm only using it as a base. Okay, so I've rolled that out on a number 2, and then I'm going to add some silver foil. Now, will this go in one piece now that it's on film? Who knows? I'm trying to get it on as evenly as I can. I don't think that bit there's permanently bent over. Never mind, as long as I've got most of it. Have I got any more out to add a little bit more there? Yeah. I'm just going to add a little piece in this corner just so it doesn't render it useless. There we go. Okay, so I've gently laid the foil on. And now I just want to give it a little bit of texture. Now I'm just using this crepe paper. It's so cheap and easy to use, and I like the effect because it puts all the lines in one direction. But I mean, you can use any texture you want. I just find a subtle texture for this looks better. So I'm just going to roll this back through the machine now on a number 2. Okay, so I've got a nice crinkly texture, but there's no big pattern sort of taking over. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do now is I'm just choosing myself a few alcohol inks. I've got 5 colours here, and I'm using a purple, a white, a bluey colour stream, a silver and a copper. So they're the only colours I'm using. Okay. You might want to put a bit of paper underneath in case anything, because it can get a bit messy. So I'm just going to place this underneath just to stop any stray ink going too far, because I'm going to kind of saturate it a bit and then remove what I need to afterwards. I just like this effect. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a quick spray of alcohol ink, and then I'm just going to start randomly adding the colours. There's no rhyme or reason. I just want to get a nice effect. And it will saturate the whole sheet at some point when we do the final thing. So, you know, I'm not too worried about making sure it's totally covered. Just let it do its thing and see how it looks for you. I mean, I've done a few already. Let me just show you a couple I've done, and they never come out the same. So even though they were done with the same colours, they're different every time. Now, what do I want next? I think I'm just going to add a little bit of alcohol ink just to spread it out a bit now. Just a little dab here and there. And I know I'm oversaturating it, but like I said, it will be okay. And if you don't like your first take, you can really go back in and try again. Okay, so that's my first take. What I'm looking for is to have separated colour so the Bargello looks better. Now all I'm doing is I'm literally placing a piece of paper on top and soaking up, but when you pull you get a really nice, you can see how it does it here. I'm going to do it again because I'm probably going to reapply once, but just give you an idea of how. I mean, you might be satisfied with that look. I'd like to have a little bit more depth in it, so I might try to do the next bit now without adding any more alcohol, but we'll see what happens. Because the whole thing's covered now, I can sort of play in areas a little bit. Sure. What shall we do next? I think I'm going to add a tiny little bit more of that blue. It mixes into things well. And I like putting, I find when I put the white in this blue, it has a really nice effect. So, let's see how this goes. I don't know if it'll move at all. Okay. So I'm just using the well, I say that I haven't got any left. You can just use normal paper, you can use whatever to remove it. This is what the silver foil came in, and I'm literally just using, there's a shiny side and a dull side, so I'm just literally putting the absorbent side on and then pull it off. And I think that might need a little bit more playing. Yeah, I'm gonna just add I mean, if it's not oversaturated, you can just leave it to dry. It depends how much you I'm not going to add any more alcohol ink this time. I think hoping it'll give it a slightly richer finish. Sorry, I've used more paper than I planned to, so I should just have to rip a piece. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. It's got lots of shades on. Okay. So I'm now just going to leave this to dry, and then when it's dry, I shall be back. So hopefully it's dry enough to use now. So I'm literally just going to slice pieces off, remove them over to here, and then push them together and give it a little bit of a push so they hold, just to help it. So I'm going to put one there. And then slice the next one. So I'm just moving over about 5mm. Oh no, not even that. Let me just show you. If you haven't done Bargello before, I think a lot of people have. Okay, and then the third one, I'll take that way. So in my head, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll start going backwards. But I'm gently pressing them together as I do it because they're going to have to hold each other. So now I'm going to start heading back. So that's 4. This is my way of doing it. 3. 2. 1. It's getting a little bit misshapen there. Must have cut it. No. There we go. And then back again. So you just keep doing that back and forward so you've got the zigzag. too many there, haven't I? Just put that back there. There we go. All sorted. Okay. Oops. Pressed a little bit too hard there, didn't I? Now, where was I? What have I done here? That's what I was saying about pushing them together. But then that was my fault. I jolted it. Okay. So now I'm just going to cut these edges away. You should be able to gently burnish it. I'm going to burnish in the direction of the lines. Oh, taking a little bit off. Okay. I think that's enough. So that's holding quite well, but I'm going to leave that for a little bit and go on to do the back. So I'll just leave that to settle for a while. I would put it on something, and I have done that with the other ones, but excuse me, it works out quite thick. And I'm going to see if I can do it this way, so it's not so thick. Okay, so I'm just going to do the back piece now. Let me just get it ready. Okay, so I've got some black Fimo Pro, which I've rolled out on a number 2, and I'm just going to add that to some felt. And I picked this, like I said, I've used this in a few other tutorials because I really love the matte effect and the texture it gives. I pick it up because I'm English. I pick it up in Hobbycraft, and you just get a package of them for a couple of quid, and they last forever. So I'm just going to roll this through. I'm going to go try a 0 now and see how that goes. I might go down to a number 1. No, that's caught levelly. So I'm going to take a piece from here. I'm leaving the back on for now on purpose, and I'm hoping it will make life easier for me. And then I'm going to re-add it above. So I've got a nice thick, I want a nice thick base. So it's a 00 really when you think about it, which is why I don't want that thick. So I'm just making sure there's no air bubbles. Right. Got a bit of glitter there. Hopefully I can cover that over. I had my granddaughter here yesterday and she had a clay lesson. So I've got everything everywhere at the moment. But she really enjoyed it. It was fun. And hopefully manage to get that. I could tidy it up with the blade. I like to keep it on the back as much as possible just so it doesn't get squashed while we're doing the front bit. So while I can leave it there, I will. I can tidy the edges up at a later point. So just trying to think of the best. I don't want this square, and because I don't have a rectangle, I've used this, and I'm just going to bring it in a little bit. In fact, I might take it that way because of the glitter. probably to about there. Make sure it's square. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's fine. I can straighten it up if I need to at some point. It looks a little bit wonky on that one side. Okay. So that means I want the piece that's going on here. I don't know whether to do it off to the side or central. I think off to the side would be nice. Okay. So there's my base. Very raw at the moment, but it's done. And then looking at this, I'm going to choose what I think is the nicest part to add. Let me try and get my lighting right so I can see it well. I don't know whether to cut it straight or at an angle. I think cutting it at an angle might look really nice. I'm trying to capture a bit of all the colours in. I mean, you can just do it horizontally, vertically, but I think bear with me, I'm just trying to find a piece I like. So I like that, but it's got no purple showing. There's one. Right. There's room. I can cut out another and see. No, there's not quite enough room. So that will be the piece. But if this doesn't fall apart, I will use it for some other bits. I might show you at the end if I get round to it. Okay, so what I need to do now is get this really level, because I can't come back and sand it. I was saying that, I'm wondering whether to cook them separately this time. I've cooked them, last time I did it, I put it on and cooked them together. I'm wondering if I'd have more control if I do it separately. And then add the liquid clay afterwards. I think I'm going to add it now. I think it'll be okay. So I want it into that corner. Okay, so that's there at that point. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to add a bail. And I'm just thinking I might add my bail at the end on this occasion. I'm just going to put this into the oven now as it is and get that tidied up, and then I shall add the bail. So I just want to make sure I can get it as straight as possible before I put it in the oven. I'll still sand the edges afterwards, but I'm trying to make sure make it as easy as I can for myself now. Okay, so once I'm happy with this and it's tidied up, I'm literally going to stick it in the oven at the manufacturer's recommended temperature, and then I shall be back. Okay, change of mind. I'm going to do the bail now. I've added a little Swavorski crystal there, just down in the corner. I can retake it out and glue it in after it's baked, but that'll do for now. And I've just got some, it's just rubber texture stripes, so I'm just going to use that now. Dear, that was close. I'm just going to roll this onto there to get myself a little texture that didn't stick at all. I mean, by all means use an acrylic block to do it, but it's okay. So I'm just going to look for the best bit, get rid of the excess. That looks about the best bit to me. Just and use whatever you like for a pattern. Again, that's my chosen piece. And what I've got is a bamboo stick. I've added some sellotape to it. One, to thicken it because I wanted a bit thicker because it's a bit fine. But two, because it's easier to get it off when I need to. So just going to gently roll this round. Hopefully it won't misshape. And mark it. That should now be able to meet nicely together, and I'll hide that meeting anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to tidy up the edges, and then I shall just use a little bit of liquid clay to attach it. I want it to look tidy. That is, yeah, perfect thickness. I'm going to attach it where the seam is anyway, just to secure it a bit more. Okay. What I may do is, which I do sometimes, I may put a sort of a semi back on just to make sure it secures it, because I don't want the bell to be fragile and come off. But that's something I'll do later if I do it. Okay, so I just want to get a good bit of liquid clay there. And a good bit on that seam. One, to secure it, but two, to secure it to the pendant. Okay, and then I'm just going to get that where I think is central. I just decided afterwards, I think it's just easier to do it now than to do a bake just for it. And I can always secure it again if I need to. That's central. Because there's more than one colour, it's not so easy to see. Okay, so this time I will put it in the oven and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, it's out of the oven now. I also did some little earring bits just to match, but I'll do them later. It's out of the oven, and I've made the decision that I want this a bit thicker, this black. I want it to have a kind of blocky feel to it. So I've rolled out a number 3, and I'm actually going, which will do good anyway, because this will just reinforce the bail a bit more. So it's sort of 2 birds, 1 stone. So I've rolled some clay through on a number 3. And I'm not removing this stick yet until everything's a bit more secure, because the last thing I want it to do is have it pull away or anything. So at the moment I'm just literally going to grab some felt to remake that pattern. Got a little bit of hair on there. And that's my fault. I've done that because I picked up the wrong piece of felt and it must have had bits on it. So I'll learn from that one, won't I? There's no problem because I can cover it over at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to cut around this I've just sort of roughly pushed it down for now. Use liquid clay by all means if you're not confident. I'm confident it's going to stick into the grooves, up at the bail especially, so I'm okay. And I'm always pushing very hard into the corners so it catches every sort of rivet. But you may find you're more comfortable to use liquid clay. Okay, so just going at the back of there and there, and I'm just going to cut it straight across so it's got a tidy cut. There you go. And now I'll repress it. So it doesn't matter if I use this one now because I'm going to have to cover it anyway. Okay, so I'm adding some pressure to it. And then I'll just go over it again and tidy it up a little bit more. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this back in the oven. The little earrings I've made to match are fine because I don't want them thick anyway. So I'm just doing a very, very slight angle because I think it looks tidier. Just gives it a nicer look. Forget the bits at the moment because I shall go over that and sort those out. So I'm just literally gonna, at this point, use my stamp I use. There you go. So that's now going to go back in the oven. I shall put on a little bit of paper so it doesn't shine. Even though I'm going to go over it, it's just trying to show you the right way to do it, or how I think is the right way to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to stick this back in the oven. Okay, so it's out. Now, I've just sort of sanded the sides a bit and tidied it up. Now, obviously, I'm going to need to tidy that back up. And you can either just leave it like this, but what I want to do is add some of the copper alcohol ink I used in there. I want to just add it around the edge here, and then I'm going to resin that. I've taken this diamond out and stuck in some super glue, but it's gone around the edge a bit, so I'll have to tidy that up in a minute, but it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do this, just to be on the safe side, I'm just adding some masking tape along the edge to try and stop any errors. Just be easier than trying to amend them after, won't it? Everything's sticking to itself now. Here we go. It's because I put it on once and pulled it off, so it's not plain ball this time. So yeah, you might not want to add the copper, you might just want to leave it as it was. But I'm just gonna, I don't like the white edge in, and if you are going to leave it as it was, I'd say use a colour clay that complements it, because I don't think that does. So I just added a little bit of, I'll add a bit more copper alcohol ink into there, and then I need to just go around it very carefully with a brush. It should be okay, hopefully, fingers crossed. I was wondering whether to bring it around the front as well, but I'm not so sure. As you see on white clay, this copper Okay, so I've just redone it quickly, and what I've done is I've used acrylic ink, I think it is, isn't it? Sure it is, I can't read it on there. Yeah, acrylic ink in copper, which is very similar, but I could control that better. So for now I've just put it around the sides instead, and I'm going to use black rub and buff to tidy up all the sides and everything. But for the minute, the next thing I want to do is I just want to resin this. So again, you may have seen me use this before. You can buy empty nail polish bottles in black so the light can't get to it, and you can put your UV resin in there if you decide it's something you want to brush on I mean, obviously if you want a dome effect or something, it's different, but for something like this, it's ideal where you don't want too much and you certainly don't want it going over the edge. So I'm just adding it now, just getting these edges done first. And then I'll bring it out. I just don't want to put too much on where it dribbles over. Check it's gone everywhere. And I'm going to put a tiny little dot over that Swavorski crystal as well. In a second. I just want a lighter. I'm just going to run that over just to get rid of any bubbles. Okay, and then I'm going to just add it to the little crystal, and then I'm going to put it in under the UV resin machine. So I've taken it out of the resin machine, and then I just finished it off with the black rub and buff around the sides and the back, just to tidy that up. So considering I messed up with the alcohol ink around the edge, I'm really pleased with this. I think it's come out really well. And again, you've got the contrast of the matte against the resin, and obviously the effect of the foil with the alcohol ink. And then I just did a really simple pair of little earrings to complement it. So they're done the same. I just cut out little squares and just put the suede effect next to the Bargello, and then just cut them out. So they really just to complement it. So I just stuck it on a bit of cord for now, just to give you an idea how it would look. Okay, so I'm really pleased with that. And I hope you enjoyed the video still, even though you know now not to try and put alcohol ink on the side once it's been attached. Like I said, if you're going to do that, do it before, or use the acrylic ink that I used, or something similar that isn't going to bleed, because that was the problem, it was bleeding. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that anyway. Thanks for watching, bye.